Welcome back to our glorious Roman People's Republic. Special Let's Fight the Mamluks and Hopefully Win edition. Before we get into it, there's a few things I want to go over. I decided to name our northern colony Elysium. I couldn't come up with a better name. For our southern colony down in Brazil, I decided to call it Nova Mauritania, after the Roman province that was once inhabited these lands. Since Brazil is also a southern province, giving it the name of another southern province felt appropriate. On that note, it's quite funny to think that we ended up in a timeline where Africa, the Roman province, ended up becoming the name for the continent, when it very easily could have been Mauritania, or maybe even Egyptus being the name for the actual continent. Funny how that works out. I've also force-spawned manufacturing. I spawned it in the historical location of its spawn in Derby, since it wasn't going to spawn naturally, so that's done. With all that said, should we start the war immediately? We are down on manpower, but we kind of always are. It might be worth just letting our manpower slip up a little. The Mamluks are actually rather strong. They're the third ranked great power in the world, and the only great power that we're aware of that's stronger than us. Not even France is a big issue, they're only the 8th ranked. When it comes to manpower, they do have half the amount of regulars we do, but Mamluks have access to some pretty good levies, so I'm feeling a little cautious about actually fighting them. Maybe I'm being a little too cautious. We did lose 2 wars against them in the past, so maybe we should just do it. We're going to declare war. We're going to use our religious casus belli. Our hopes is that we can march into and take some of Central Egypt. To this war, we're going to fight a kind of defensively. We're going to occupy these territories here and use this kind of as a place to fight the Mamlukian army. I don't really want to march to Alexandria and risk being cut off while sieging that city. I'd rather use the forts that are already here to kind of trap and bisect the Mamlukian army. I'm also kind of hoping that they do try and navally invade us. I'm not going to try and fight them navally. I want them to try and land, and then we can stack wipe their landed forces by raising levies and having them deal with them. We aren't going to raise any levies now. Instead, we're just going to wait and hope that having no soldiers over there is enough to lure them in. I am going to raise levies in Sardinia and Corsica just because I want to dissuade them actually landing there, because it'll be difficult for us to protect the territory if they do decide to land there, because we won't be able to just swarm them with our levies. So let's just get on with it. We'll march to this province, or this location where we got steppe wiped much earlier on in history. We'll immediately rush it down, and then we'll continue on into the northern parts. Some Mamlukian levies are here. We should be able to just very easy deal with them. Yep, they immediately got stack wiped. Then we're just going to chill out in this area and hope for the rest of the Mamluks arrive so we can annihilate them. There we can see the Mamluks have started to flow up, as is predicted. There's quite a lot of them, which was also to be predicted. We're going to immediately just jump them. If they're going to head into our lands, we're going to take them out. It should be a simple affair. These are just levies, but the problem is there's going to be a lot of them. Our hope is that we can just overwhelm them with our pure regular armies. Things are going quite well to start. We just need to keep an eye out for reinforcements. If worse comes to worse, we can always just pull back behind our territories and let our manpower replenish. After all, since we're deep within our own hostile territory right now, our manpower isn't going to our soldiers, it's just going into our manpower pool. Whoa, there's a big army coming. Can 70,000 of the people's warriors defeat 130,000 plus this extra 18,000 that are coming in? Kind of looks like it. A lot of our generals are dying in this battle. There's 2 generals have just died. Oh, we won. We killed 37,000 of them and lost 10,000. Looks like more troops are about to arrive though, because their movement has been locked. Let's see, we just immediately stack wiped them. Perfect. What does that put us at? We've killed 60,000 of them with that one battle, pretty much. Should we push now? I don't think so. We need to reappoint some generals who've fallen. We're actually going to appoint our ruler as well. Some of the Mamlukian vassals are trying to land over in Corsica. Can our levies handle them? Yes. They've been dealt with. What I'm actually going to do is pull back my armies a little just to let their manpower replenish, and then we'll be going back in. Maybe we should march to Alexandria after winning that battle. Time for the next battle. I'm pretty confident about this one. There are some vassals of the Mamluks who've brought some soldiers over, but I doubt they'll have a big impact. Let's just do them in. 60,000 Mamlukian reinforcements are coming. It's going to be another 10,000 versus 7,000 or so battle. And there we go, we killed another 20,000 of them. Trivial, really. Maybe we should march straight to Alexandria. I'm a little worried about getting too cocky, but let's try it. We're going to march to Alexandria. Things go poorly, we'll just pull back. We do have to be careful about our morale from pushing too deep. We don't want to end up in a situation where we run out of morale and immediately get defeated in a battle. Speaking of getting defeated in a battle, it looks like we've been surrounded. Mamlukian Navy landed troops from behind and they've cut us off. I knew I was getting too cocky. Time to pull back. The Mamlukians' morale's pretty low though, so we're actually going to jump them. We actually lost here due to them reinforcing the battle so fast. We did kill 17,000 of them though. Overall, more than 100,000 Mamlukians have died. We've only lost 32,000 or so men. Shouldn't be a big deal. We're gonna retreat back into our own territory and let our manpower replenish a little. Since the Mamluks are now sieging down our territory, we can be the ones fighting with the benefit of the forts on our side. We're just going to jump these guys. Should be simple. It's going to be a close one. We're actually taking quite a lot of we're actually losing more than they are. I think I forgot to rebalance my armies before the battle. I think we are going to lose this one. I'm a little unsure. Part of me just wants to keep fighting and seeing if we can just overpower them, but I feel like we're going to lose the center. Some of them are retreating though. Yeah, we've lost the center. Could we win even without having the center routed? I think we might be able to. We've broken one of their flanks. We've broken their center. I think we have one. We took pretty heavy casualties there. We lost 20,000 men, not really the number we're hoping to lose. So I think we're going to hang around in our own territory for a little bit instead of continuing to push. There's no reason for us to take large risks, right? If the Ottomans want to invade our territory and siege down our forts, we'll let them. Some Mamluks are starting to land in our territory. We've got some landing here in Corsica that we're going to clean up. Looks like some are also trying to land here in southern France. We've also got a landing here in the eastern side of Africa. So we're going to raise the levies. They should just be able to deal with these guys unless they bring over actual regulars. We've managed to defeat this landing here in France. Should just be able to stack wipe them. There we go. We actually took some hostages from their regulars that were here. We'll keep them captive in France for the moment. We'll probably sell them off when the war actually ends. Casualties wise, we've nearly killed 20,000 of them, 200,000 of them even. We've got quite a large landing here in Corsica though we'll need to deal with. I think we're going to start pushing into the Mamluks again now. We're going to have the First People's Legion not though, because their manpower is very low. There's only 400 of them left in the stack. So we'll leave them at home while the other legions push in. We've managed to defeat the stack that was over here. Another one's going to land though. That's a good thing really, because it means we can clean them up. Ooh, the Mamluks are throwing themselves at us. We should just be able to win, as long as no reinforcements come and complicate the affair. Yep, there we go. We'll keep pushing. The Mamluks really seem to want to take Sardinia. They're landing a lot of people here to try and siege it down. Really, that's better for us, because it means they're wasting their time here. Ooh, we actually lost the battle here. We only lost 3,000 men or so though, so it's not that big of a deal. Again, we'll just retreat back into our own territories. We're actually going to raise all the levies in North Africa now. We're going to use them to pad our main armies. The Mamluks have started requesting peace. They're demanding that we give them land. We're going to say no reason for us to accept. The Mamluks have dropped below 10,000, 100,000 men. This war feels like a bygone conclusion now. Only 5,000 of the men left are actually Mamluk soldiers. The rest being their vassals. Right, we're going to begin pushing towards Alexandria now. There's only 70,000 or so Mamluk soldiers left. We essentially have more regulars than they have actual soldiers, so they shouldn't pose much of a threat to us. We're going to make for our war goal, that being the city of Alexandria. There, we've seized the city of Alexandria, which is our war goal. This should give us the ticking war score. Currently we get minus 25 because we haven't taken the war goal, but now that we've taken it, we should be the ones to gain the ticking war score. Right, it's time to peace out. We've won this war pretty handily. I would like to take more from them, but Alexandria alone is taking 45 war score. So even if we wanted to take more, we couldn't because it's too expensive, unless we wanted to, you know, kind of separate our nation. So we'll just take this land, including Alexandria. Alexandria is a city with a population of 500,000 people, so it's quite valuable. We'll also take Rhodes and some of these Greek islands that Mamluk controls. We'll also have them release any Roman slaves they've taken in this war, because they did take a couple. And there we go. We did it. We defeated the Mamluks. Our manpower's built up quite a bit, so it shouldn't be too much for us to replenish our numbers. Now, our economic law has become available, or economic policy. So which should we pick? The obvious one here, the obvious best one, is this one. Simply because it gives raw material output of 5%, but it also gives that 0.002 development. And any source of development is good, because high development is good. If you look at Rome, for example, development provides maximum RGO size, it provides maximum building level, decreases the building cost, increases local proximity, increases migrant attraction, increases food production, increases local population capacity. It even increases character life expectancy. And something that it doesn't show here is it actually affects the demands of the pops in the location. The higher the development, the different things the pop in the location will want. They'll have wants for more high quality goods, which means you can increase demand for those high quality goods, which means you can increase income. But with all that said, I kind of want to go for war economy. It increases the output of all sorts of weaponry, firearm, and cannons by 10%. This will help bring down the cost of maintaining armies and army recruitment buildings, because the supply of those things will increase, and therefore demand will decrease, which means the cost of maintaining them will decrease. If we look at our 51 barracks in Rome, for example, we're paying 100 ducats in maintenance due to the high cost of firearms, leather, and weaponry. Firearms being 161 ducats, weaponry being 176 ducats. That, of course, is then brought to only 20% because of the kind of building it is. If we could increase the supply of these things, we could also bring them down. We also get a minus 5% to army maintenance cost. Our current army maintenance, if we don't take into account reinforcement, is 373 ducats. So a 5% increase wouldn't be that much. It would basically shave off around 30 or so ducats. Do keep in mind though, our armies aren't costing us their full amount because they're not all at full capacity. The real cost of our full armies would be closer to 500 ducats. And since we're going to continuously expand our armies once we can, getting the cost down as much as possible is definitely nice. But that development's so good. What are we currently gaining from development? The average literally of our burghers increases development quite a bit. We've also still got the urban grants privilege, which gives a 0.01. It's a hard choice, it is. I think we are going to go for war economy though. I just want to see, I feel like I always would go for this other one for the development. So let's do things a little differently and go for war economy. With our manpower pledge, we're actually going to pivot back west and attack Morocco. And so let's see about taking more land from them. We're actually fabricating a casus belli on Hungary, because for some reason we can fabricate an exploration casus belli on Hungary. Exploration is basically the same as a normal no CB war when it comes to costs of taking land, but without the stability cost. So being able to fabricate a CB like that is definitely nice. Unfortunately, we can't fabricate one against Castile or against France, because the requirements for this casus belli is that we not be in the same area, that being the same subcontinent. And because we're in Western Europe, and because Hungary's in Eastern Europe, they count as explorable land. So we can explore Hungary violently and take their territory, which sounds good to me. While that's being done though, we're going to go beat up the Moroccans. I've been thinking about the reason why taking land in EU5 is so expensive, and I think I have an idea. Our war goal for this war is to take Fez, but when I look at Fez, I can see that it's getting an extra cost due to the war goal. Surely it shouldn't get this cost if the goal is to take the location. Like, it makes sense because that's the default cost of the war. But normally, for example, like in EU4, when you're declaring war for a province or a location, it gets a discount towards taking it. Whereas in EU5, it seems that taking the actual location you're fighting for in the war costs the same as literally any other province. It has the same modifier. Maybe that's something that should be changed to make it so that actually taking your war goal is like easier. For example, I can't take my war goal in this war. It costs 102 peace cost, which means we can't take it because the maximum is 100. So we'll have to do without taking Fez. We'll have to come back for it another time. Alrighty, since we can't take Fez, we're basically just going to take all of everything else that we can, reducing Morocco quite considerably, and also cutting them up into two pieces. They didn't seem to mind. Now look how big our name is. The Grand Republic of Rome is back. Or maybe it's better to say they've arrived. We're now going to quickly try and head back home before our casus belli comes online with the Hungarians so that we can quickly declare war on them. Alright, it's time. We're going to attack Hungary. They are allied with Poland, so that's one thing of note. Poland actually owns quite a lot of territory in the New World. Don't ask me why. So maybe we'll try and grab some of that from them over the course of the war. We'll have to see how it goes. One thing of note is, of course, that Hungary has quite a few vassals. They actually have vassalized Austria, who is a free city. The free city of Austria. Not ruled by the Habsburgs, obviously. I guess we'll just see how things go, as I said. We shouldn't need to call up our levies. Just our regulars alone can probably beat the Polish and the Hungarians. We'll see, though. Our naval doctrine has come online. I think we're just going to grab fleet and being for this one, just because it decreases naval maintenance by 10%. Our current naval maintenance is around 200, so it would knock off around 20 ducats. So we don't have any galleys, so free oarsmen wouldn't really make sense. So yeah, I think we'll just grab fleet and being. and not worry about it. Uh-oh, the coalition has decided to declare war on us, this time led by Burgundy. We're actually quite down on manpower because of the horror of having to siege down all these forts and then fight the Polish and Hungarian armies. Luckily, the Polish have left the war, so it's just the Hungarians, and they've only got 10,000 men overall, but the coalition has 20,000 men, 200,000 men even. The coalition has 900k, nearly 1 million men strong. For some reason, Bohemia has joined the coalition. I'm not sure why. They gained 200 antagonism from us. Was this from us defeating Morocco? It may well have been, because they definitely didn't have this much antagonism before we went to war with Morocco. Not Morocco, Mamluks. Oh well. Are they friendly towards Mamluks? Can't tell. They don't have them as a rival, or as an enemy. Maybe they are friendly towards the Mamluks. Either way, I think we're going to pull back, then we're going to raise levies. We're not going to end our war with Hungary. There's no real need for us to. Now here's a large battle on this mountain. Looks like we're going to win though. How are we doing? We've killed 100,000 of them. We're actually winning on war score, which is a little surprising. That battle only gave us 0.17 war score though. We're pretty far away from piecing them out. Should we just piece out the Hungarians? I wanted to take a lot of land from them, but I think we'll keep going. We're not getting call for peace yet. Until we do get call for peace, there's no reason for us to really peace out the war. It's not like the Hungarians are a big threat. We really have been outmatched in this coalition war. There's just so many of them. We've been reduced to just hiding back inside Rome. If we can keep Rome for around 400 days, we'll gain access to the call for peace. And surely we can just white peace. One of the reasons I've kept Hungary in this war is because even if they will agree to a white peace at any point because of the war going on so long. So if things got really dire, we could agree to a white peace and all these forts that Hungary has occupied will flip back to our control. And that would hopefully distract the coalition. Alright, the question becomes, can we hold out for the 300 days to the point where we can sign a white peace, or should we surrender something now? What could we get away with giving? We could give war reparations. We could let them humiliate us. That would give us 54 to the ways of making peace. We could liberate these few locations, and we could liberate Corsica. That would be pretty minor losses. Could we get away with not doing war reparations? No, we'd need to do war reparations, but we could do this, or we can try and hold out for 300 days. I'm not feeling that confident, but we're gonna try anyway. All we have to do is make sure that they don't reach Rome. Right, I think we're winning. We've made peace with Hungary. So now these guys are distracted, sieging down Hungarian holdings, or what was once Hungarian holdings. I accidentally right-clicked the notification for how close we are to white piecing, and I don't know where to see it again, but I'm pretty sure we're around 300 days from white piecing, which is about a year. So in a year's time, we should be able to force a white peace. We just need to keep them away from Rome. If they lay siege to Rome for even a second, that'll count as the war goal being contested. We just got to keep them back. Nothing else really matters. Looks like we've done it. We've managed to survive. We lost 400k men, to be admittedly, that was mainly levies. We killed 200, nearly 300k of them, but we've managed to reach a point where they'll be agreed to a white peace, or lose 10 stability, and it looks like the AI will just always prefer to accept the demand. We did it. We won. If you can call such a war victory, or anything resembling victory. Now we need to pick up the pieces of our nation, disband the levies. We're going to need to let manpower replenish a little. This war has really shown that we need more armies. We've been kind of coasting round on our little armies, and by little I mean quite sizable because they're larger than pretty much everyone else's militaries in the world except for Ming. But clearly we need more. Luckily we're pretty close to the point where we're going to switch over and gain access to new soldiers. We're actually very close. We're researching it right now. We're researching hunters, then we're going to go down to musketeers, and we'll likely use them as our main military force going forward. Hunters seem to be mainly worse. But they do have one thing going for them. But their advantage is they have quite high initiative. I honestly don't think it's worth it doing less damage. I'd rather my guys did loads of damage. So I think we're going to go for musketeers instead of hunters as our musketeers online. How expensive? It's going to be quite expensive. Around 2,000 gold to promote each of our armies to be musketeers. So we'll start saving up. Aha, we've got our army doctrine. As discussed, I think we're just going to go straight for a large standing army. Just give us that more manpower. The actual frontage is also nice. So let's just grab that. We've got enough money to upgrade one of our armies. So let's upgrade it and have a look. Looks like it auto-upgraded them to hunters, even though I'm not sure those were who I wanted to upgrade them to. but I guess the game says they're better. So now they're gonna double in size essentially from these 2,100 men to around 5,000. I'm not sure I want armies that big. Let's let them grow to their proper size. Is this the proper size? Looks like it. Okay, so they're only 4,000. Maybe 4,000 I think is 40,000. I think 40,000 is more manageable when it comes to army size, so I think we'll go with that. Our People's Legion will become 40,000 or so men, which is a respectable amount. We'll continue to have to, well, we do have to continue to work on our manpower though, but that we are doing. We'll be working on our manpower for the whole game, it feels like, but that's how it should be. You know, funnily enough, we actually got demoted from being a hegemon from that war, and Mamluks is currently a hegemon. So we're actually going to fabricate a cut down to size CB on them, and we're going to see how much of the Mamluks we can take. Since we're unironically stronger than we were the first time around we fought them, this should be an even easier war. I know you might roll your eyes at me saying that, but it is true, trust me. Just because we fought and kind of won, I mean, we did win the coalition war. We just got to be a little careful. On the plus side, we've reached a point where we can oppress Catholics enough that they won't rebel, which is definitely nice. Don't have to worry about Catholic revolt every few years. Alright, so I was planning to attack Mamluks. I did really want to attack them. Could we still attack them? We can. Problem is, we're now involved in a war with Castile because this province revolted, and it was a cultural revolt, and so it brought Castile in to the war. Should we engage in a two-front war? You know what? Let's do it. Surely 2 of the People's Legions are enough to deal with the Mamluks. They number 80,000. Which is kind of as many soldiers as Mamluk has. Mamluks is also already in a war, so they can't call up any levies outside of the ones they already have. We have quite a lot of manpower as well, 100,000. I haven't upgraded these armies, because I didn't actually expect them to go to war, because I was just going to sit on the provinces that were rebellious and pacify them that way. So we'll immediately upgrade them to the next level, and then we'll wait a little bit for their manpower to replenish. Alrighty, we've brought the boys round. The Castilians have 150,000 men. We have around, what? 60,000? We need to constantly be dividing our attention between what's going on here and what's going on in the Mamlukian lands. What could we take from Mamluks? We could take quite a lot. We might be able to liberate Jerusalem itself. Maybe. We'll need to siege more provinces though. See what I mean? Our new units fought a Castilian army. They killed 60,000 of them and we lost 4,000 men. If we'd had upgraded our regulars before that war with the coalition, we would have absolutely swept them. They caught us at a bad time. That's the cope I'll use. So what should we do with Castile? It feels wrong to take too much land from them because of how this war works. So I think we'll just take something like this, plus of course, the rebellious land itself. You see here, this is why this war is kind of exploitative, because you can annex the revolter, which usually revolts and you're annexing the nation that's behind supporting the smaller nation. And so in this case, if I pressed annex revolter, it would probably annex Castile. And look who's back. The coalition has declared war again. This time though, I think things will go a little differently. It doesn't look like they've brought Bohemia in. No, Bohemia's not in the coalition. They're in a coalition against Great Britain though. For some reason, just Bohemia. Without Bohemia, I don't think this coalition can fight us and win. We'll probably need to end our wars elsewhere quickly though. So let's end the war with Castile right now. I was feeling a little greedy, but I think we'll just take what you see here. Just an extra 2 provinces plus the revolting one. We just need to siege something down, and they should accept. No, we're close. We're literally on the edge. We'll assume that they're going to make peace and start moving our armies north. There we go. So we've retaken the rebellious province plus that extra land. I do find the whole revolt thing pretty annoying because a lot of these revolts, they barely have anyone in them. If we take this revolt, for example, the Southern Bavarian Patriots, there's only 1,000 people in this revolt, spread across 5 locations. The main reason they can revolt is because of the lack of control in their areas. And I mean, that's not something I can control that much. We do have access to modern roads, and the burghers are kind of spamming them everywhere, which is definitely helpful, right? But, you know, they can't spam them fast enough that they can bring these locations into high control. We are doing everything we can to decrease the proximity costs of getting around, and we've decreased them quite low at the moment. Let's go to the ledger and have a look. Proximity cost right now, by default, without taking into account roads or maritime presence, is minus 37%. To the proximity cost. That's pretty good. Not perfect, obviously. If we could get our centralization up to 100%, that would increase up to around 45%. But still, I was thinking I wanted to take Cairo from Morocco, from Mamluks, but unfortunately, They consider us taking Cairo as them fracturing their nation. Even if we take this here, it doesn't really look like their nation's fracturing in this situation. They consider it fracturing. I think it's because this is cut off from this. Maybe not. They still consider it fractured. If we just don't take Cairo, it seems they don't no, they still consider it being fractured. I just don't know. So all we're going to do is just go along the coast like this. We'll also take Jerusalem, because why not? Get them out of here. There, we've started to sneak around the coast now. We've got a pretty good look at the New World now. It's mainly just Portugal, Castile and France dividing it up. North America, on the other hand, is being divided by Sweden, Bulgaria, Poland and Castile, and a little bit of Portugal, and us of course. Central America seems to be a mess. France is there, and Castile, and the Mayans seem to have unified, which is nice. Africa is a bit of a mixed bag. It's mainly Britain here, it looks like, and some French down here, and of course we're scattered around. Kilwa seems to be alive, but they've done the old migrate to Madagascar that they tend to do. They still control Zanzibar though. Where's their capital? It's over here on Madagascar. Still haven't got a look at China, but we know it's going to be a big one, just because of the Ming's stats. I mean, look how much money they're making. Hopefully we'll be able to surpass them when it comes to standing army though, once we graduate back to being a great power. We've got a minor revolt here in North Africa, but it shouldn't be a big deal. We'll just send our legions to deal with it. And then we'll probably attack Morocco again. We're close to fully annexing them. Well, not full annexing them, because they'll still exist in sub-Saharan Africa down there. But we'll take all of the territory we need in North Africa. Territory that is rightfully Rome. Should we do anything with this coalition? I think we'll just white peace them when we can. There we go, we've managed to convince the coalition to white peace. I'm kind of saving Western Europe because I don't really want to fight them having to use a new CB. So I'm kind of saving the land for when we get imperialism, and then we'll probably just we'll try and get everyone into a coalition against us, then we'll attack the coalition and just try and annex as much as possible, as fast as possible. Since we've discovered the exploration CB that we can use on countries in Eastern Europe, we'll probably use that to try and clear them up. Oh, we did it! We managed to become the military hegemony. Well, that's nice. That gives us an extra 10% to the cost of taking land in wars. Let's actually look at our war score cost. Our war score cost is minus 36%, which is pretty nice. Could be better though. Could always be better. Alright, I think we'll leave the video here. We've managed to expand a little. We finally defeated the Mamluks in a war. In fact, we defeated them twice. Our armies have definitely ramped up in size. We now have the largest army in the world, even larger than the Ming. Next time, I think we'll finish off Morocco, and then we're going to start dedicating time to getting into the Middle East in earnest. I really just want to cut into Morocco, to the Mamluks, and then cut into the Ottomans. We may also invade Hungary again. This time we likely won't be distracted by a major coalition. Hopefully, right? Speaking of hopefully, we're pretty close to getting our 100% literacy rate for everybody. We're going to gain an extra 10% from this current research. Is there anything else in this age that gives max literacy? No, it doesn't. Looks like we've already grabbed everything that gives max literacy. There may be a law in here somewhere that gives max literacy. We're close though. We're close to our dreams of a fully educated and online People's Republic. Let's see, how close are we to forming Rome? I imagine we're still quite far. Where can I see how many locations we have? Yeah, so we have 850 or so of the locations we need within Rome. So we're still quite far. Still quite far. Will we even be able to do it? I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to do it, because once we reach the revolutions, we're going to gain access to imperialism, which means we can kind of, you know, do as we would do in EU4 and just go crazy with declaring war. We'll also get this minus 20% war score cost when the Age of Revolutions, which would make it even easier to expand and to take land. I'm not sure if we'll be able to do it though. I don't know. I haven't planned to successfully do it. This is an attempt. I do feel like it gets quite exhausting in late stage EU5 though. EU4 had the same problem, but it feels quite worse here because there's so many locations and because the AI builds so many forts. Looking at you, Hungary, is there a way for me to see how many forts you have? Doesn't like it, but there are so many forts. Oh, there's probably a fort map mode. Yeah, there's so many forts everywhere that we have to siege down if we want to take anything, and the AI is so allergic to making peace even when you've sieged down large portions of their country. But that's a me problem. I'm pretty sure we can do it. I'm confident. Now that we've actually defeated the Mamluks once, and now that our army is the largest on the planet, and we're only going to continue expanding it, I'm looking forward to grabbing regimental camps and essentially being able to double our manpower income. Now though, as I said, this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.